DC has created one of the most popular hero teams in the superhero world, but what about all the other groups that are just as deserving of the hype? The series One Star Squadron debuted in 2022. It featured unpopular heroes combining their limited star power to create heroes for you. It's like a mix between Uber, Cameo, and 911. For these C-list heroes, the C stands for capitalism. People use the Heroes for You app for on-demand hero assistance. Situations you may need a hero for include, but are not limited to, alien attacks, transporting sensitive information, birthdays, or getting your kitty out of a tree. No job is too big or small, they will answer the call. I love this idea. Trust and believe, if I were a D or C-list superhero, I would be on here. I also think this idea is so clever from the writer's point of view. They were able to bring back a bunch of characters, so many fun characters all at once. The app and agency was led by Red Tornado, but other heroes you could request were the Heckler. I would request him. His power is literally just being annoying. Just send him to that person you mildly dislike. Takes care of it. Let me know down below who you would sick the Heckler on. Minuteman is available. He has a bunch of powers, but only for 1 minute at a time. There is Flying Fox, who is known for magic things like invisibility and illusions, good for a birthday. There are a bunch more heroes too. That's just a taste of all the options. I just love this idea. Literally all these heroes just deserve better. I have a soft spot for silly superheroes. What can I say? I like to laugh as much as I like the serious stuff. Section 8 made me giggle, specifically this one guy on the superhero team. His name is Defenestrator. Defenestrator from now on will be Mr. D. He literally just goes around with a window and smashes it over villains' heads. In all fairness, defenestration is literally the act of throwing someone out a window. I'm obsessed. Mr. D started out a villain but was recruited to the Hero Squad Section 8 by Hero 6-Pack. The team is made up of just wacky heroes with wacky names. We have Dog Welder. He welds dogs. I'm being so serious. There's Bueno Excelente. That is literally good, excellent in Spanish. Phlegm Gem. He has blinding phlegm. Gross. Friendly Fire. He is the most traditional. He shoots energy blasts. And then there is Jean de Baton. He fights with, take a guess, a baton, and he is French. The entire thing is so camp and also a tiny bit problematic, which is probably why it hasn't picked up much steam. The Metal Men were created by Dr. William Magnus in the New Earth DC universe. The team is an interesting idea, metals with human-like bodies and the capacity to form thoughts and personalities. Dr. William created the Metal Men using his invention, the responsometer. It's a microcomputer that can give metal life. The Metal Men are made up of 5 male metals, gold, tin, mercury, lead, and iron, and 1 female metal, platinum. The team is such a specific brand of hero, so they fought a specific brand of villain too, monsters that appeared due to odd scientific research. The team has fought alongside Batman. Initially they were arrested by Batman because they were framed for something, but their names were cleared eventually. After getting their names cleared, they took down a bunch of evil robots together. The nice thing about the metal heroes is they can literally be remade whenever, as long as Dr. William has his microcomputer and a bit of the metal heroes can be brought back. The metals can also be combined to create the formidable foe alloy. Here's the thing, I spend time on the internet, clearly, and I'm also just a girl, so I will see these videos of people personifying different inanimate things like apps and countries and cars. So I think now is really the time to push the Metal Men. Inanimate objects given life are in right now, trust me. The Challengers of the Unknown have an interesting origin story. They were a bunch of guys on a plane that were flying to go be guests on a radio show called Heroes, later changed to a TV show. They were above average guys though. One was considered a master of skin diving, another a daredevil working in the circus, an Olympic wrestling champion, and trained jet pilot and war hero. Just quite a mix of people. Of course, the plane they were in went down and the Fab Four of course survived. After the crash, they all have that wow, we almost died moment, and they decided that they are all living on borrowed time and that they should challenge the unknown together. Challenging the unknown really is what these guys did. They were also a for-hire service too. They got hired to open Pandora's box. Pandora's box is something you famously should not open. However, they were offered $1 million. Not saying I would do it, but I get it. These guys start kind of taking on jobs that are too out there for others or too hard. They worked with the Pentagon of all places. One member loses their sight along the way, so a different member gives them an eyeball. They go through it. They had created their home base in a mountain. The personification of evil comes by and blows it up. At a certain point, the team really just can't catch a break. Eventually, there are new team members, a games designer, a physicist, a NASCAR driver, and a commercial pilot. What I think is cool about this particular DC team are the people on the team are just people. people. They have semi-regular jobs and just decided to start conquering challenges despite not receiving any superpowers. The Sea Devils, like the Challengers and Batman, were just regular people doing extraordinary things. They appeared in Showcase issue 27 in 1960 but got their own series the next year. The group was made of 4 people. Dane Dorrance was the leader, the other members were his girlfriend Judy Walton, Judy's younger brother Nicky Walton, and friend Biff Bailey. The group spent most of their time underwater, of course. They spent a lot of time living every ocean-obsessed kid's dream. They fought sea monsters and discovered underwater kingdoms. Like truly, if I was guaranteed to never drown, I would join this crew so fast. Spending so much time with aquatic life and fighting in the sea, the group also fought for the sea on land. They are environmentalists, and are suggested to maybe be a bit extreme at times with their methods in the New 52 reboot, but they remain allies to Aquaman. The duality of the universe being manifested in human form has been done so many times, and yet it always hits. Hawke and Dove are another version of this. They were inspired by the political climate of the 1960s, with the characters debuting in 1968. People that were more in favor of war were often referred to as Hawks, and the dove is commonly a symbol of peace. So from that, we get the aggressive Hawk and the level-headed Dove. In the DC universe, the Lords of Chaos and Order decided to bestow powers on a set of brothers, Hank and Don Hall, making them effectively War and Peace. They wore matching outfits, one was red and the other blue. The pair worked well together as Hawk often acted without thinking and Dove would think without action. Hawk was shoot first, ask questions later kind of vibe, whereas Dove made sure to provide the compassion and solutions that didn't require physical conflict. A perfect balance that was unfortunately thrown out of balance when Dawn passed on during the Crisis on Infinite Earths fiasco. It would be disastrous if just war was out here on their own, so a replacement had to be found, and that was Dawn Granger. The Lords chose her because she was level-headed and willing to find compromise and see reason and other perfect peaceful qualities. After the loss of his brother, naturally Hawk took some time getting used to his new counterpart, but eventually accepted her. The characters of Hawke and Dove have plenty of potential, and yet their solo series are never that long. They got some credit on the screen. They made their animated debut in Justice League Unlimited in 2004 episode, then made their live-action debut in 2018's Titans. I am about to put up missing posters for this team because honestly, where did you come from? Where did you go? Justicia is the hero team of Mexico. Justicia is Spanish for justice. The Justice League of Mexico, basically. They first appeared in Suicide Squad, Most Wanted, El Diablo, and Amanda Waller 5. They were in 6 too, but then goodbye, I guess. The team is led by El Dorado. He's almost a Mexican version of Superman. He can fly and he's really buff. He is also capable of teleporting and minor telepathy. He also really looks like Miguel from Into the Spider-Verse. Anyway, there are 3 other members on the team. Akrara, a skilled martial artist and acrobat that wears a Mayan artifact that gives her teleportation abilities. Then we have El Muerto, an undead hero, which makes him hard to hurt the way you might hurt someone who's alive. And finally, we have E-Man. He wears a suit of armor that gives him superior strength. There are some connections between this team and the Justice League. El Muerto used to idolize Superman, and E-Man received a scholarship from Wayne Enterprises. E-Man and Batman also share similar parent trauma. Each individual hero has had a handful of appearances, it's just the team that hasn't come up much. I think they are neat and should get more chances to show off together. So now we have shed some light on the MIA superhero team for Mexico, now we are heading to look at the main team for Japan. Big science action. The founding members were Boss Bozazuko, he had a flaming head and a bike. Cosmo Racer was an alien android that required specific crystals to power his interstellar traveling. Goriko is a projection that comes from the mind of a young Japanese girl that is currently existing in a sensory deprivation tank. Hammer Suit Zero X is a monster armor made of sturdy metal and has drills for weapons. Junior Waveman is the Japanese version of the Sea Devils mentioned earlier, but this time there are 8 people. The solar physicist known as Rising Sun is on the team as well. A Japanese stuntman known by his hero name Sunburst was on the team but perished in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Finally, Ultimon, a hero dedicated to fighting giant monsters. Since its founding, the team has integrated some new members, and throughout history, big science action has saved Japan from many threats. The team might not be out as much anymore because after Final Crisis, the government confined the Super Squad to their base. We are about to get into the team that was originally published by Image Comics, later DC. The team is Wetworks. Wetworks is an actual term meaning work involving assassination, so you can probably guess the vibe. They are a covert operations team in the Wildstorm universe. Their leader is Jackson Dane. Technically, the original covert op team name was Team 7. The team was sent out to raid this cave, but the cave was already raided when they got there, except for these tubes filled with gold liquid. The team had a lot of remote controlled weapons on them that happened to start a countdown to detonate while they were inside. fight, and then everything goes wrong all at once. The tubes get shot, the liquid gets on these people and surrounds them, and then the explosives go off. But it turns out the liquid acted like protective armor because it was symbiotes. Adding a sim to someone automatically makes them cooler, but you know what makes them even cooler? When they fight vampires. This team has been running across Eastern Europe making sure they can't remake Twilight. They had lost members along the way and even temporarily stopped because of it. They regrouped after the world cataclysm and were called to Utah, of all places. Turns out someone was trying to make demonite vampire hybrids. In the ensuing fight, the Sims all mutated and the Wetworks team started getting new powers. The new power played a key role in stopping the vampire hybrids from existing. Atomic Fallout seemed to be a popular origin story for heroes. The heroes of Lallor are no different. The heroes of Lallor are a team of 5 heroes. Their parents lived close enough to the site of the atomic fallout on their world that their genes were altered, resulting in their children all being born with powers. The kids were sent away from the planet and decided to come to Earth. They were tricked, bamboozled, lied to by this guy named Dr. Martin King. He made the young heroes think that the Legion of Superheroes were criminals. Why? So he could avenge his brother's death. Because this random group of people from outer space started attacking them, the Legion also thought the heroes of Lallor were the bad guys. They fought for a bit, but soon realized that they were both fighting with good intentions and became friends instead. Unfortunately, one of the Lallor members did pass away, Beast Boy. Not the one you're thinking of, a different guy. You know how I know the heroes of Lallor deserve better? They used one of the characters' name for another hero, and that guy is eons more popular. Their powers are even similar. The Lallor Beast Boy has the power to turn into any animal, and the more popular Beast Boy does the same thing. There were 5 heroes on the team. The others were Gas Girl, she can change her body into any gas. There is a Volvo Lad, he can make his body into any point in human evolution, so he can become an ape or the kind of man humanity can't even imagine yet. Life Last can create living creatures from inanimate objects, Beauty and the Beast core. And finally, Duplicate Boy, he can duplicate any hero's superpowers. Eventually, the surviving 4 make it back to their home planet. They even gained a new member, Splitter, or Arm Fall Off Boy. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and make your mark on the comment section. Let me know which DC team deserves the world and more. This is Juliana, signing off. Bye!